A number of baseless rumors about Jungkook have been circulating on social media lately, specifically related to one of his most famous tattoos, the green microphone on his arm. Some users claim to have seen videos on YouTube or TikTok where he supposedly no longer has it. But the truth is that these claims have no real basis. They are lies created with the intention of confusing and erasing details that hold significant value for both Jungkook and Taehyung. Let's be clear, Jungkook has not removed that tattoo. There is no real evidence, nor reliable videos, to show otherwise. In fact, in recent images and recordings taken at the airport, it is clearly seen that the green microphone tattoo is still in place. Along with the rest of his tattoos, nothing has changed. The tattoo is still there, just as it always has been. What is worrying is not just the misinformation, but the intention behind it. This tattoo is not just any decorative design, it has a deep, personal meaning. Many fans fully understand that this tattoo is linked to something important to Jungkook. And for many fans, that connection is directly related to Taehyung. This detail has been a source of annoyance for those who don't accept the closeness between Jungkook and Taehyung. That's why some resort to cheap strategies to erase any trace of that bond. These people create montages, edit videos, and spread manipulated or downright false information. They try to rewrite history because they don't want to accept the obvious. But the facts can't be changed with anonymous comments or distorted posts. While some try to hide or deny this connection, Jungkook and Taehyung have let it be seen for years, with constant gestures that speak louder than 1,000 words. There's no need to exaggerate or invent anything, just observe carefully. Everything they've shared and the way they express themselves to each other is clear to those who truly know their story and follow their journey. The green microphone tattoo isn't a minor detail, it has a purpose, a meaning. And that's precisely what bothers those who want to erase everything that refers to Taehyung. We need to start clearly pointing the finger at those spreading lies. This isn't about insulting or playing their game, but rather about identifying what they're doing, creating confusion and misinformation. These accounts should be reported for their behavior. They don't contribute to the community or respect among fans. They use social media to create divisions, spread unsubstantiated rumors, and manipulate what others say or do. There are those who still believe it's all a coincidence, but if you pay attention, you'll realize that with Taehyung and Jungkook, there's never any unintentional movement. This time, they did it again, a bunny t-shirt and a teddy bear bag. Coincidence? Absolutely not. Taehyung doesn't play it cool, but he doesn't hide his feelings either. Everything has a message. A few days ago, Taehyung was spotted wearing a bunny print t-shirt. At first glance, it might seem like just another addition to his extensive wardrobe, but when paired with a teddy bear decorated bag, the look takes on a whole new meaning. These types of accessories aren't common for any male public figure at his level, much less in contexts where each piece is carefully curated. Looking at this combination, it's inevitable to recall a scene that's been etched in the memories of many fans: Jungkook wearing a teddy bear t-shirt during one of his last events before his public hiatus. Taehyung isn't sending random signals. Every time he appears with symbolic items, he does so with intention. For those who have been following Taikook for a while, these choices aren't part of a fabricated narrative or a fan-created fantasy. They are consistent gestures, reinforcing a real, visible, and constant connection. These aren't assumptions or exaggerated interpretations. It's direct observation. Taehyung and Jungkook seem to be in sync, even when they're not in the same place. Their relationship isn't dependent on physical distance, they're in each other's minds and hearts. Through small but powerful details, like a t-shirt, a bag, an accessory, or a shared glance during a performance. The passage of time hasn't weakened their connection, on the contrary, it has strengthened it. What each chooses to show the world seems carefully aligned with how they feel. Many people who follow Taekook have learned not to ignore the obvious. There's a story that tells itself. And while the media often chooses to look the other way or simplify it as fan service, the gestures don't lie. The way Taehyung expresses himself through his style reveals more than what he says in words. The combination of elements isn't a game or a casual experiment, it's a way to keep the connection with Jungkook alive. Many eagerly await the reunion in Los Angeles, where Taehyung could reunite with Jungkook. A moment that fans not only want to see, but sense as inevitable. On the other hand, there's another piece of news that deserves attention: the way Taehyung has built his image in the fashion world. It's no coincidence that the most exclusive brands are seeking him out. He not only has presence, but he understands how to use it. At the Celine show, both in 2022 and 2025, he made it clear that he's not just a pretty face for a brand, he's someone who transforms clothes into a visual message, adapting his body and style to accurately represent a specific aesthetic. Fashion expert George Hollins recently spoke about this. According to him, the previous Celine style suited Taehyung perfectly before his military service, and the brand's new design fits his current figure just as elegantly. Because Taehyung is preparing, in 2022, he followed a strict diet to achieve his desired aesthetic. In 2025, he underwent contrast hydrotherapy, alternating between hot and cold water baths to tone his body and be in top shape for the event. Being a brand ambassador isn't just about posing for a campaign, it means embodying its spirit. And Taehyung understands this better than anyone. His physical and aesthetic evolution shows that he doesn't improvise. He studies, he strives, he adapts. And in doing so, he raises the bar for other idols of his generation. He is an inspiring figure not only for what he projects on stage, but also for what he demands of himself off it. Returning to the Taikook connection, this level of detail in aesthetics also has another interpretation. Jungkook, who is equally rigorous with his body, his tattoos, and his way of presenting himself, shares that obsession with excellence. And although each has his own style, there is a harmony between them. Their forms of expression, sometimes subtle, sometimes forceful, complement each other. In the end, everything is there, before the eyes of whoever wants to see it. The relationship between Taehyung and Jungkook has remained strong over the years. It doesn't need sensational headlines or fabricated theories, it's sustained by facts, gestures, aesthetic choices, shared glances, and an emotional connection that is conveyed without words. For some, they may be mere coincidences, but for us, they are clear proof. What cannot be denied is that when Taehyung appears with a rabbit on his shirt and a bear hanging from his bag, he is telling a story. Taehyung and Jungkook don't need to speak to say it all. When they look at each other, there's something clearly happening between them. Their body language reveals it effortlessly. They approach each other without fear, they touch each other naturally, and they do it as if the world didn't exist beyond their proximity. It's not a casual behavior or a one-time occurrence. It's a way of acting that repeats itself every time, no matter where they are or who's watching. In every video where they appear together, there's one constant. They always move as if they're connected. There's no hesitation, no pause, no distance separating them. If one reaches out a hand, the other responds without thinking. If one takes a step, the other follows. They don't look at each other suspiciously or avoid contact. On the contrary, their way of interacting is firm, confident, and gentle all at the same time. They're not just sharing a physical space. They're inhabiting the same moment, the same energy. They seem to understand each other without speaking, as if each of their gestures had a precise meaning. This is evident in the way they touch each other, without hesitation, without hiding. Even when other people are around, they behave the same way. As if the only presence that counts is each other's. The naturalness of their gestures doesn't seem forced or repetitive. It's not an act. It's something that flows fluidly, as if that behavior were part of who they are when they're together. It's not a habit, but a very personal form of connection. Taekookers have noticed this for years. Not just in one video, but in many. Because there's always an invisible line that unites them. This physical relationship doesn't stop for the camera. They don't adjust their behavior based on what others will say. They continue behaving the same way, as if they know that their relationship needs no explanation. Taehyung's movements toward Jungkook, and Jungkook's toward Taehyung, are like a kind of code that only they understand. A silent, firm, constant code. A bond that remains strong in every public appearance, on every stage, in every space where they meet. Taekook isn't an illusion created by edits or assumptions. It's something that's present when no one else seems to notice. A dance that needs no music. A connection that can't be hidden. In every appearance, Taehyung and Jungkook build a presence that stands out effortlessly. They don't need words or declarations. Just look at how they carry themselves when they're next to each other. There's no nervousness, no hesitation. Just a fluid contact, an approach that feels like it's part of their shared essence. They're not simply walking side by side. They're in sync. When one changes direction, the other has already noticed. When one moves forward, the other is quick to follow. It's an immediate reaction. As if the two are in the same rhythm. The naturalness of their movements reveals a routine that's not rehearsed, but lived. It's not that they're used to being close, it's that they seem to need to be close. There's a confidence in their physical language that isn't seen in every relationship. When Taehyung leans into Jungkook, he does so with confidence. And Jungkook responds firmly. They seek each other out with their gaze, with their bodies, with the way they adjust their space to fit the other in. It's not about temporary comfort, but about constant attention to the other.